Welcome back to the endocrine system lectures. Today we're going to discuss about the sexual gonads and in terms of functions and diseases. Our outline is that we're going to take three hormones sexual gonads secrete, and then we're going to emphasize on their function and significance, and the diseases they make when there is a defect in secretion, either high levels or low levels. Now, testosterone is an androgenic hormone formed in the testes. The androgen is formed in the adrenal glands, and then it's further modified to testosterone in the testicles. Cells that produce these are Leydig cells. These cells are in between the seminiferous tubules, and so they are very important. When the Leydig cells secrete the testosterone, it goes into the blood flow and travels around the body. This is a diagram of the testosterone. Notice the similarity between the cholesterol and the testosterone. Cholesterol has a additional hydrophobic chain at the tail, while here we have this hydroxyl group. So the function of testosterone is mainly gives the secondary and, of course, primary sexual characteristics for males, and important for muscle building and bone growth. They usually, bodybuilders use these to grow their muscles a lot faster and more efficient. Of course, this is illegal. So why did we talk about the male infertility? Well, because because testosterone is mainly produced in the testicles, so if the testicles starts to produce sperms at very low level, or they're immature or immotile, this is due to problems. Either problems as in chemical or physiological diseases. Sometimes physical, such as trauma or radiation. However, both, if the testicles are affected, then also the production of the testosterone is affected as well. So let's see how. The testicular cancer. So if cancer is produced in the testicles, they would start to affect the testosterone level, either produce it more if the cancer comes from Leydig cells, or it produces somewhere else and it's affecting the Leydig cells, so it will decrease or reduce the testosterone, causing several symptoms and signs, such as depression, or decreasing the sense of well-being, having difficulty to concentrate, so on and so forth. Another type of disease is the gonorrhea. Gonorrhea is due to this bacteria. It's Diococcus bacteria, as you can see here. It's also known. It's a very well-known STD, and it's caused by a bacteria called Neisseria gonorrhea. Now, the symptoms of these have to be very well known. Is the burning sensation during urination, inflammation of the testicles, which also affect the testosterone production, and in very late cases, about if it left untreated for 2 weeks, or 1 to 2 weeks, is case of infertility. Now let's look at the second hormone, mainly produced in women, the progesterone. Again, notice the difference in the chemical composition between the testosterone and the progesterone. Here we removed the hydroxyl and we added an acetate group. Now the progesterone is produced in the ovaries, especially after ovulation, and in the adrenal glands. Here, ovaries and the adrenal glands as androgens, not as progesterone, and then they are later travel to the ovaries to produce the progesterone. And in neuron level, progesterone is important in the brain. So as adipose tissue is also produces the progesterone, and sometimes also estrogen. Now here's a graph. We could see here the progesterone is low or very low during the beginning of the menstrual cycle, and then it starts to increase after ovulation. And we're going to go to the estrogen after this. We're going to talk about later in this lecture. The progesterone deficiency, which means that the progesterone is not working effectively after this. So how is progesterone controlled? Well, progesterone is controlled by the LH hormone and the menstrual cycle, of course, but mainly the LH. Now you can see this surge of the LH, and it's synchronized with it the increase of progesterone along the way. So what happens here exactly? So the LH surge happens at here, the vesicular follicle, where there we have the oocyte and the antrum. These are all components that are very important and that will form the corpus luteum. So the ovum is excreted out of the ovary into the fallopian tube, and this is where the LH is at its peak. Corpus luteum will start to secrete progesterone, and if fertilization occurred, it will secrete estrogen to keep the corpus luteum keep on secreting the progesterone. If no fertilization occurs, the corpus luteum will not acquire the signal and starts to degrade, and then progesterone levels will start to decrease instead of increasing.